Greetings, respected viewers. I'm George from Ireland, and in this video I'm going to ask why so many people dislike Her Royal Highness Princess Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, and indeed her husband, Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex. Apparently in the county of Sussex, because their title relates to the county, some people have set up a group demanding the two be stripped of that title because they believe that this couple is bringing the county's name into disrepute. So this book came out just a few days ago, Finding Freedom, about Prince Harry and Princess Meghan, about their progressive new role, as they call themselves, spending a lot of their time in California and Canada, only coming to the UK occasionally. They said they wanted to step back as senior members of the royal family. They made that announcement in January. Notably, they didn't say they're leaving the royal family, they're still in it. Just now they're junior members of the royal family, as it were, and there was to be a probationary period of 1 year. But this book is really toxic for their relationship with the rest of the royal family and with much of the British public. Now, the gruesome twosome notably said that they did not give any interviews for it, that they're not quoted even anonymously, but they didn't say that their friends didn't do so. I think that's got to be affirmative silence. Presumably, they authorised their friends to do this or that, just like Meghan Markle has so often got her friends to go to the media and say, Meghan's heard about this, or this is what really happened, and blah, blah, blah. So doing it through intermediaries. So not even the courage to actually speak openly about it. And as obviously, it's very damning and insulting about the rest of the House of Windsor. They've been airing their dirty linen in public. Now, not that the rest of the House of Windsor are completely innocent. Look at Prince Andrew, for instance, and not that Prince Harry and Meghan are all bad. They have their virtues. They've done some good, and okay, occasionally they've actually physically helped. They went around distributing food to the poor in Los Angeles a couple of weeks ago. Might have been the only time they've ever done that kind of thing. But I can't feel too sorry for a couple who live in a house worth $20 million in Los Angeles that they didn't earn, that a friend just lent to them. And going on about how we've got to save the planet. Well, when you go from North America to Britain, do you swim? Oh no, you fly. Oh, of course. You could have done like Greta Thunberg and sailed using wind power, no engine. That would save the planet, but they don't do that. They've got enough time. They've got all the time in the world. They don't work, for goodness sake. So they've essentially confirmed the idea of a fissure between them and Prince William and Princess Kate and so on. So they want to be part of this new glitzy showbiz scene in Tinseltown, but that's not really working out so far. All right, we're in a curious situation owing to coronavirus, the run up to this American election in, I think it's 96 days, so perhaps no big films are going to get made right now. So there was some possibility that one day they might resume their senior royal roles, but that's really been scotched. Or they're complaining bitterly that Prince William and Kate, they got more prominence in more important roles and patronage. Well, duh, it's called primogeniture. Yeah, of course, because Prince William's second line to the throne and Harry is now sixth, I think. So yes, of course it's like that. It's always like that. This is not an equal opportunities position. I don't get any of that. Of course I don't, because I'm not a member of the royal family. What do you think? No, it's not. It's not shared out on an equal basis, even within the family. So elder takes precedence over younger. Until very recently, male took precedence over female. For the forthcoming generations, there'll be gender equality. So anyway. They want to have their cake and eat it. They could simply renounce their royal titles. Why not give back some of the money? And they're still keeping Frogmore Cottage in Windsor Castle grounds. And so they're complaining, oh, really, it's not that special. You're right. I mean, it's only a 10-bedroom house with enormous gardens in the grounds of the most famous palace in the world. Yeah, I mean, nothing special. And 10 bedrooms. There's a mum and a dad and a baby, so 3 people. I don't know how they cope with 10 bedrooms. I mean, my heart bleeds for them. So anyway, so some very private family issues were published in this book, and that can only have come from them. And noticeably that they haven't criticised the book, they haven't said any is false, so clearly it was with their indirect collaboration. And she's so disingenuous, Her Royal Highness Princess Meghan, saying that when she met Prince Harry, she had no idea who he was. I mean, ha ha ha. Say what you like about Meghan Markle. Egomaniacal, self-censored, narcissistic, manipulative bitch. But stupid is not one of them. Even her worst enemies would not say she's a moron. Of course she knew who he was. Of course she loves the fact that he's high status. She's a shameless social climber. Um, anyway, so they don't indicate any wish to return to the royal family, and I think the royal family wouldn't have them back, and a lot of the British public wouldn't have them back. They were so petulant, so temperamental. So there they are in Beverly Hills. There they're going to have to stay. Finding freedom, it was called. Just the kind of thing that these two would like to call it. Like they didn't have freedom before. Yeah, so oppressed. What a terrible life they led. So much suffering. Come on, you were involved in all this charity work. Prince Harry, he was involved in Centre Ballet, going to Swaziland, meeting children who are born HIV positive. Both these children had died of AIDS. You might have thought that put his travails in perspective. Really, I don't have it that bad, actually, being so immensely privileged. Especially for two people who are always attacking privilege, racial privilege. Why not financial privilege and all the rest of it? Anyway, so clearly some of their inner circle took part in this book, and there have been loads of things. Obviously, Meghan's very difficult to work for. She sacked her baby Archie's nurse and things like that, and loads of staff have been got rid of. So she, Miss Cohen, who worked for the royal family for 17 years, she resigned after about 6 months with this couple. And I can't remember the thing who, yeah, Meghan's female bodyguard, she was got rid of very quickly. One nurse was sacked on her second night for supposedly unprofessional. So these two are really difficult and temperamental, so brattish. So anyway. Meghan didn't like the musty smell in the Chapel Royal, Windsor, so she got away with the air freshener and things like that. So you can the body language between her and Kate is plain. There's clear dislike, but they are both smart enough and decent enough to sort of to keep some sort of lid on it in public at least. So I was going to say Meghan's the personal assistant Melissa Tubate quit after only 6 months with her. So they're very pushy. They're very difficult. Anyway, so Miss Meghan has got this terrible reputation for being moody, for being just impossible to deal with for her staff, and they don't say that about most of the rest of the royal family. Prince Andrew's another one. He's notorious for his vulgarity-laden rants at his staff. Just when they're doing their duties properly, he'll still verbally abuse them. And everybody knows it's the measure of a lady or a gentleman that how decently you treat your underlings, and neither of them treat them remotely decently. So Prince Harry, he clashed with his elder brother because Prince William wondered whether it was a bit hasty to try and get engaged to her so soon, whereas Prince William, he famously had his relationship with Kate for, goodness, I think it was 10 years before they got married, even broke up for about a year, got back together. So anyway, so various members of the royal household are saying that they found Meghan untrustworthy. Well, they were damn right from the start. You see how she uses and abuses people, picks them up. So long as they're utile for her, she will use them. When they no longer are, she discards them shamelessly. Completely unsentimental. It's that one of those cluster B personality disorders. I can't remember what this one is called, the sort of egomaniacal one. Who's all about fetishizing appearance and being seductive and things like that. She's a demi-mondaine. Anyway, so Prince William supposedly seen as a snob by his younger brother for questioning whether Meghan was really the right person. Now, royal families are snobby. They're the apex of a system of social inequality. So you don't have to marry another princess or someone from an aristocratic family. There's no rule against marrying a completely working class person. Not that Meghan is working class. But yeah, don't be surprised that there's a bit of snobbery there. I mean, what do you expect? Use your loaf. Anyway, so Meghan doesn't like the way the royal family didn't speak up for the media. Well, they don't get into a mud fight, right? That is infra dignitate. So they simply don't do this kind of thing. Anyway, so Meghan, they felt that she gave up her entire life for this family. Well, you knew that was the deal. But what did you get? You get loads of money, loads of kudos, more publicity than you could have dreamt of, because of course she craves being in the public eye. Don't do it then. It's not that bad. Your wedding cost, was it £50 million that the taxpayer paid for? And this claim that was such a boost to tourism, apparently that's bull, actually. Anyway, so she says, oh, but it was still a boost to the economy. All right, well, but you still got it. Think of all the other women in the world who didn't have such an enormously extravagant wedding. And if you really care about the poor and the environment, you could have given the money to them. And you could like live in a one-bedroom flat and all the rest of it. And the clothes, you're never seen wearing the same item twice. I know that's true of Kate Middleton, or a lot of them. But if you care about the environment, you wouldn't do that, because it's very wasteful for the environment to produce these clothes, which are worn once, then thrown away. And we all know that cotton, for example, she wears a lot of cotton, uses a huge amount of water, about the thirstiest crop around. And that takes away water from comestibles and things like that. So I really think they have burnt their boats. There's no going back now. But she does have her partisan supporters. There are fanatical Meghan fans. Anyway, so things have moved on, and some people are just fed up with the antics and the self-indulgence of these two whiners. Anyway, and they've gone to the media. They've just behaved appallingly. They announce things without getting the Queen's say so, and the Queen had to have a crisis meeting to manage the situation in January 2020. So a lot of it seems to be them getting revenge at various members of the royal household or other members of the royal family, these taking a swipe at them. So that was just appalling. So clearly there's a great deal of bitterness involved in all this. Some acerbic comments about Kate Middleton, for example. They felt they were ostracized by her, and obviously there are these persistent rumours that Prince William's having an affair with the Marchioness of Cholmondeley. I don't know if that's true or not. Anyway, so too much backbiting. So not Kate Middleton, Meghan Markle feels there that these grey men in suits, Princess Diana had a problem with it as well. Some of the royal flunkies are trying to keep her on the straight and narrow. Well, that's their job as courtiers, to uphold the honour of the institution, to make people sure observe people protocol. She doesn't like that. Well, it's a very formal institution. Don't marry into it then. It goes with the territory. There are about 3 billion other men you could have married, or marry nobody at all. And then there they are, these sort of political activists. Now, even they are not crass enough, Meghan and Harry, to say vote for Joe Biden or vote Labour or something, but they're coming out with liberal left talking points. They are entitled to form any view they want and to vocalise their opinions, sure, but they shouldn't be opining about matters which are politically contentious. Okay, keep these views to yourself. Here, reticence would be apposite. Anyway, so I think a long period of silence on this too would be much appreciated, but that's the one thing we're not going to get. She just won't shut her big trap. They're going to carry on yapping all the time. So what else can I say about these two? They are self-indulgent, self-centered, and undutiful. So what a disgrace. And obviously Harry's worse. He knew the score. He knew what the situation was. So I don't doubt that he actually does love his wife, but does she view him as simply a tool to be thrown away once he's served his purposes? Probably. You can think of the book deal he can get, she can get. You can think of the divorce settlement. You can think of the film role she can get. She's already trying to get into doing voiceovers. People are joking that she wants to be president of the United States. That one I doubt, but the others I would say that's probably true. And then all this self-pity. Now there have been some racist screeds against her, and of course that's rebarbative. But my critique of her is not racial at all. Anyway, let's call her white. She's more white than black. It wouldn't matter to me if she's completely black or completely white. It's a matter of complete indifference to me. And there are these persistent rumours that she wasn't actually pregnant, that this baby was some sort of changeling. But anyway, I don't believe that one myself. But I have come to realise that claim is not as ludicrous as I first thought. They do have a birth certificate. Presumably that's not forged. Wouldn't it be illegal to produce a bogus birth certificate in the United Kingdom? The baby bump photos, the way it seemed to get smaller some days, and that she was a bit too keen to show it, to cradle it. Now, the appearance of her baby bump being smaller when she was supposedly pregnant, that could be simply depending on how tight her dress was, or the colour of the dress can make these things more obvious, less obvious, the angle at which she was photographed, things like that. So it could be simply an optical illusion. And they were so cagey about the birth, home birth supposedly, and not coming out of the hospital to show this infant when the infant was born. And then when they said when the baby was born, official date, but then Harry let it slip that the baby was born actually a week earlier than that, things like that. So I think the child is theirs, but I could be mistaken. I think it's not a completely crackpot conspiracy theory, that one. If they want to adopt a child, well, nothing wrong with that. Maybe one or other of them is infertile. So what else? Kate Middleton, she's bland. She never puts her foot wrong. She doesn't open her mouth too much. Nobody dislikes her. Bit of an airhead, unlike Meghan Markle, who's overly opinionated, just a bit too outspoken. Anyway, so there's not a lot to feel sorry for them about. They had it all and they've thrown it away, but they still got this wonderful multimillionaire jet set lifestyle. So they're not just abiding by the rules. So I'm fed up with these two, aren't you? Anyway, that's about all from these two, and they could do so much more if they really wanted to help the planet or really wanted to help injustice. And she claims not to understand the tabloids, Meghan Markle, but she was constantly using them when she was in Toronto on Suits. And she her hates media intrusion, but she's always invited them into her life. When she was Prince Harry's girlfriend, she gave an interview to Vanity Fair, did a photo shoot, presumably got paid a huge sum of money for that. So she has exploited her connection to the royal family to make money. So don't say the media have got no business following you around. Tough. If you live by publicity, you should die by publicity. The media do have a right to report what you're doing. You are a public figure. You've chosen to be in the limelight as much as possible. All right? So and make your mind up. What do you want? You want privacy? You want anonymity? Well, there's a lot you could do to achieve that. But anyway, people will eventually get bored of them, especially as Prince William's children get older. So I wonder if their security is still being paid for in the United States. I'm not sure. So the way she's treated her father has been appalling. And then she said it was terrible the way private correspondence of hers was printed. I think it was by the Daily Mail newspaper. And then she got into this court battle, which the royal family never ever do. And as part of her court case, she has chosen to reveal far more of the correspondence. So that doesn't make any sense at all. You want your correspondence to be private, which is why you're publishing more of it. That's completely illogical. So anyway, we shall see whether she's going to win or not. And a part of her deposition, they're saying there were these false and malicious stories in the press. Well, the press are allowed to be malicious, and it's not against the law to publish false things. You could take a libel action against them, but that's a separate issue from whether this your privacy was breached by your father choosing to reveal the correspondence. If one person sends a text or an email to another person, who owns the copyright to that? Is it the sender? Is it the recipient? Is it both? I mean, so far, everyone would say that the recipient is allowed to sell that to a newspaper to publish it just as well as the sender is. So I don't see how that's a breach of privacy, but I could be wrong. We'll see what the court decides in the end. So she is effectively at war against sections of the British media, but she still has her ardent supporters. Okay, so anyway, that's probably enough about these two. It would be good if they were not annoying the public any longer. Toodaloo.